Yo, what's poppin', everybody? I want to welcome y'all back to the No Level Cap podcast. I want to introduce everybody to the crew. We got the collector of collectors and Twitch streamer extraordinaire, Will Coleman. What's going on, Will?
How y'all brothers doing today? How y'all sisters doing today? How you ladies and germs living tonight? Let's talk about TGS 2022. I think we got a lot to say tonight.
I agree. I definitely agree. And we also got the Black Daredevil and the best actor in Austin, Texas, Terrence Flowers. What's going on, Terrence?
Man, this was a good week for gaming, so I'm very excited to get into tonight's topic. It's going to be good. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, so yeah, I'm excited.
I definitely think we got a lot of shit to talk about. And lastly, I am Sage Ashford, the man who won't shut up. Y'all know on the No Level Cap podcast, we talk about all the anime, all the gaming, all the nerd culture, none of the bullshit. We're back with episode 28. No Level Cap goes live every Monday. If you prefer the video version, we're on YouTube. And if you're a fan of the audio version, we're live on Spotify as well. We also put up bite-sized clips of our podcast on TikTok and Twitter. We everywhere you want us to be. We everywhere.
We in there.
So we in there. I've been telling y'all we in there. But yeah, this week was huge for gaming. Like I was kind of shocked. I mean, like this for the last little while, it's been kind of quiet. Then of course, like Gamescom, that wasn't really a lot to speak of. Even E3 kind of wasn't really a lot to speak of. Like there was some parts that was a lot of fun, but like for the most part, I thought it was kind of quiet. But I can't say the same for Tokyo Game Show. Like they let it off before the show even started with a Nintendo Direct and a Sony State of Play. And I just kind of wanted to get everybody's opinion on which show you preferred the most, which one you thought was like superior show. And so, Will, I just want to ask, like, which one did you prefer, like the Nintendo Direct or the Sony State of Play?
Between going those two, because I was at work when I watched those, and after watching the direct and then live watching like the State of Play, I was very much like, I don't know which one did better, because I was like, they both hit on things that I want. They both hit on things that I like, I love, and I'm just like, which one? And if I had to truly make a choice, I would have to go the way of Nintendo. And that's not even slighting what Sony State of Play did. Sony State of Play just picked up on everything. I love it. It started off great, like excellent. Something I was wondering what they were going to do, because I'm thinking we're going to see that in like, the Game Awards. They pulled that out at the front, like, here, take this. You know you like it. And I'm just like, well, thank you, I do. But now they hit us with all that stuff in the direct. I'm like, this is speaking to me personally. I want every single thing that you just pretty much told me about. Maybe minus one game. So Nintendo, they hit it. They hit the ground running, just throwing like cards. It's kind of like that Floyd Mayweather gift, just just throwing it at us. Like, here, take it. Game. You want it. So Nintendo Direct definitely did its thing for me.
Nintendo did have a lot of stuff. I have the list in front of me, but I don't have like a raw number. I'm gonna say it was upwards of 30 games, because it just looked like it was like game after game for like a little while. It felt like every minute they had another game that they wanted to show us, which I like that clip. Terrence, how did you feel? And which one resonated with you more as far as like games you wanted to get, Nintendo Direct or the Sony State of Play?
This is definitely one of those things where it comes down to personal preference, because I definitely feel like they both had something to offer in just different ways. Nintendo they're just good with comfort games. And I mean, they had plenty of that. The whole meme of that direct was the farming games.
The farming direct. Yeah.
Farming direct. Yeah, but Sony came out swinging. They brought more than I thought they would, because I know we talked in our Discord about how we didn't think State of Play was going to really be all that great, but they surprised us. I mean, to come out swinging with Tekken 8, a game like you said, Will, a game that we thought was going to be at the Game Awards or some other place, but State of Play, that was definitely unexpected. In terms of which one I liked more, I personally have to lean in the State of Play direction, just because, I mean, for one thing, I don't have a Switch, so I mean, most of those games that came out, they're going to be on the that were mentioned in the Direct, I'm not going to have access to, so it is what it is. That's not to say that Nintendo didn't have some good stuff there. I know Octopath Traveler 2 was announced, and that's going to be on PlayStation 4 and 5
Everything.
as well. So yeah, I definitely want to give that a try. And I mean, they had a whole bunch of other good stuff that I'm not going to get into right now. But for me personally, just for me personally, and this is not a slight at Nintendo at all, like you said, Will, it's just a matter of I really liked what Sony had to show. I liked Tekken 8, Stellar Blade. I mean, even that God of War trailer. That God of War trailer sold me on getting God of War Ragnarok. Like, I was already thinking about getting it, but that trailer completely sold me on it. So for me personally, I'll say State of Play was the winner. But I mean, they, as a game, like gamers overall, we all win because they were both good. They were both good in their own respects. It just depends on what you're into. I'll say that.
It's funny you say that because like before I was looking at some of the reactions in live time, like for the direct. I only looked at State of Play later on, but for the direct before Tears of the Kingdom showed off, there were some people calling this the worst direct of all time.
Bruh.
Okay, look. I kind of understand where they was coming from, kind of, because at a certain point, I started to notice. I'm like, wait a minute, a lot of this is just ports and updates.
Oh,
you know, it was like a port of It Takes Two, updates for Switch Sports, updates for Mario Kart, updates for what was the other game? It was a lot of updates. I'm like, all right, look.
There was like no big there was no big surprise announcement, not really.
No big surprise,
Okay, yeah, well I'm just talking about what was there, like specifically, not necessarily like the get like what wasn't there, although that was also a problem. I will say this as far as Nintendo fans go, they got their favorites. It feels like Nintendo fans have about, depending on how you count it, about 6 to 8 franchises. They have Mario, which you can double up and say 2D Mario and 3D Mario if you want. Metroid, Zelda, Pokemon. Let me see. There's also Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, and then after that, I mean, like if they could get Star Fox and F-Zero, they'd love to have that back. And then after that, they kind of don't care. They're kind of like, yeah, whatever. Because Fire Emblem is a big deal. Fire Emblem sold, like the last Fire Emblem, I think sold like 3 million copies. That's not nothing to laugh at. Xenoblade 2 sold, I think, over 2 million copies. That's nothing to laugh at. Those are good sales. And that's a good part of Nintendo's library. It shows the breadth of that library. And for people to just be like, who cares? That's wild to me. But that shows you just like what Nintendo fans value. Like they value the same franchises that they grew up with, and they're not really trying to see no hope. You say what?
The purist.
Yeah, the Nintendo purists, they value the franchises they grew up with. And I mean, that was why I wasn't a Nintendo fan for a long time, because Nintendo didn't really have RPGs like that. And then all of a sudden, now they have them, and the Nintendo purists are like, we don't want the RPGs. Like we grew up on the platformers. We grew up on our Scrimblow Bimblow games, and that's what we want, and that's what we gonna have. And so, like, that's where they at. And I understand everybody's not gonna be into the same thing, but I still think this direct was straight. It had it opened with Fire Emblem Engage, and even though the protagonist looks like a VTuber, I still think that game should be pretty fun. Oh, yeah. It had Pikmin. It had Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. So I mean, it opened great. And it closed really strong. That was the game everybody wanted. Y'all got it. So like, and you finally got the name. You're not just calling it the sequel to Breath of the Wild. Like you finally have a title. So like, be happy. And you got a date. So like, I thought that was pretty solid. As far as which one won, it just depends. From a general perspective, I can see a strong case for State of Play. State of Play was 20 minutes long. It had 10 games. It was very focused. There weren't a lot of, they didn't muddy the waters with like, oh, here's a port of this, here's a port of that. Aside from VR, if you want to count that. But like even that was like what, maybe 2.5 minutes or something. So they didn't muddy the waters. They just kind of got in, got out. A lot of big games and maybe a couple of mid-tier games, and that was it. So I can see the argument for State of Play. To me, just going off the games that I saw revealed, Front Mission and Octopath Traveler 2 definitely are two of my most anticipated games. Octopath Traveler 2, top tier. anticipated game. We'll get into that a little bit in just a second. But like, I thought Nintendo did a great job, and I thought they kind of won the night just off of numerical advantage. But I mean, like, if you wanted to make it a case for like who was gonna grab the most headlines, state of play.
Yeah,
like,
I
feel
agree
like
with that. Yeah, I feel like there were some strong heavy hitters at state of play. I mean, the Nintendo stuff, it'll definitely be talked about without question.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I thought it was wild. I thought it was wild though to see some Nintendo fans, like not just the purists, like the beyond the purists, the ones that just like Nintendo can do no wrong. I saw them trying to downplay that state of play, and I was like,
don't do that.
I don't know what y'all are talking about. They were like, oh man, that could have been anything. Tekken. I mean, who really cares about Tekken? I saw someone say that,
bruh,
and I was like, what?
You are crazy. Like, look, Tekken isn't even like a fighting game thing. Like, that's the highest selling fighting game. Like, that outside of Smash. I mean,
right, outside of Smash.
Yeah,
it's top 3.
Yeah, so it's like that goes beyond just the FGC kind of thing. So let's get that straight.
Yeah, and also it has the record for like longest running story in a video game. Period. I'm serious now, because I heard that it was just in fighting games, but apparently it's in video games in general, and I'm just like, that's kind of crazy.
I guess if you can count like from Tekken 1 till now, I guess like in terms of like an overarching story.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Fuck all that. Get Harada up out of here with this bullshit. He don't give a fuck about that story like that. And I tell you what, it ain't nobody that's watching this podcast that can tell me the actual story of Tekken from 1 to 8 and tell me, well, not 1 to 8, but 1 to 7. Tell me what the fuck that story is. You don't know. Hell no. Like, I understand, like, when he said he was the longest story in fighting games, I'm like, yeah, I can see that. That makes a lot of sense. Because Street Fighter story is kind of a mess. And, that, but like, in all of games?
Apparently.
Oh, fuck no. Hell no. But it's still a major franchise. You got to put some respect on that. It's there's Smash, there's Mortal Kombat, and then there's Tekken. Am I wrong? Or like,
you're talking about in terms of sales?
Yeah.
I guess so. Like in terms of like the biggest sales. I mean, of course, Street Fighter falls in there somewhere, but yeah.
I think it's a couple pages down.
Yeah, Street Fighter is a big like in the FGC. Like you said, Terrence, it's big in the FGC, but like as far as like the gaming overall, like we'll see. But speaking of actually, and I know I had another question I wanted to ask, but I want to ask y'all this because y'all are the fighting game guys. How did y'all feel about the state of fighting games right now between Street Fighter and Tekken?
You just tossing that out to either of us?
Yeah, I mean, like, whoever wants to answer, like, do y'all have like, are y'all excited going into next year? And also, do y'all think it's a 2020? Like, do y'all think Tekken is next year or no?
I'll let you go ahead and go.
If Tekken is next year, it's going to be on this half of the year.
It won't be.
It won't be early. It won't be first half. It'll be latter. It'll be second half. I don't see that happening right now. I'll say it like this: the problem that Tekken has is that it has so many characters and so many linchpins to the story. Even though they showed us the main two in this trailer with Jin and Kazuya, they got a lot more people to kind of integrate here, and we need to know who's staying out and who's staying in. So they're gonna have to kind of tie that together. I'm not sure how they're gonna do it, but I see the latter half of next year is when we'll see Tekken 8. So if we can just make it through the first half, we'll be leaving Tekken 7 behind soon enough. But Street Fighter is definitely first half, and I'm excited because they got us a closed beta test coming up soon in October to give us a chance to try Street Fighter 6. And if Harada does this right, we can get one for Tekken 8 and give us a chance to see how that plays. But we have no word on how they're going to do some of the features plus the netcode. So I don't want another case of Tekken 8 is 3. I don't need that. I really don't, Harada. I don't care if you see this or not. If you tell me that Tekken 8 is 3, you're going to have to come see 3 hands, a left, right, and a left, a 1, 1, 2 from me. And I'm so serious.
Oh, man.
I'm just being real.
But Terrence, what do you think? Like, how do you feel about Tekken and Street Fighter both basically making big splashes at Tokyo Game Show? And do you think Tekken is next year or 2024?
Well, just overall, just Tekken 8 and Street Fighter, I mean, both of them are in an amazing state right now. I mean, Street Fighter, and I guess I'll cover this too when we talk about games that, we're looking forward to. But I mean, Street Fighter is in such a good place. Like, the game hasn't even come out yet, and so many people are just fully confident about it just because of everything that they've shown us. It's like the complete opposite of how Street Fighter 5 was at launch. Like, they're showing everything, and the fact that they're even running with the roster leak, just giving us the full roster without all the trailers being out. It's like, Capcom is there was doubt as to Capcom, like there was doubt as to like whether Capcom was fully back, because like their other divisions were doing well, but their fighting game division, it still wasn't hitting it. But I mean, based on everything that we've seen from Street Fighter 6 so far, unless it just like does a complete 180 and everything is just a disaster at launch, like this game is looking like it's going to live up to be like one of the classic Street Fighters. Like, we're going to be talking about this game from like years to come. And Tekken 8, I mean, just based on the trailer that we saw, it was hype. I really wish we had gotten that trailer at Evo, but I know that Sony probably secured this for State of Play, so it is what it is. But yeah, Tekken 8 is looking great. Personally, I think Tekken 8 is 2024. Here's why I think so. This is the first time that Tekken is not being released in arcades first. Like, Tekken usually is put in arcades and then it's eventually ported to consoles after it's gone through its arcade iterations. They kind of like fine-tune the balance and everything, and they know that the game is good enough to put out on consoles. But this time, they're just going straight to consoles. So we really don't know exactly how they're going to go about it. I don't know, like, if we're going to get any more information this year. I imagine maybe we'll get another trailer at Game Awards. But it really, like you said, Will, it just depends on how they roll out the information. Like, how do they roll out information on story mode, the characters? I feel like they're probably going to spend the rest of next year giving us more information on the story, the characters that are coming, and everything else, and then release it in 2024. Because I feel like they still so it'll be in their best interest, I'll put it this way, to have like some kind of beta test for the netcode and everything. Nowadays, you don't release a AAA fighting game without doing some kind of beta test for it. It would be really foolish to not do so, I'll put it that way. So I think we have to get that. And then once they've gathered all the information, once they know their netcode is solid, the roster is looking good and everything, then I think they'll put it out. So if it does come out next year, that'd be great. I think, yeah, like you said, Will, it'll be around this time next year if that happens. But I think it's 2024 just because it probably still needs a little bit more time. Like, it looks great as it is, like graphically, but I'm sure there's still more that, it probably still needs, it's probably still taking some time in the oven. I'll put it that way. So I don't think it's coming out next year.
So, I mean, like that's probably a good thing, right? Because
yeah.
Well, the reason why I say that is because better chance than not that Mortal Kombat 11 comes out next year. I mean, 12 comes out next year, right?
I guess so.
Okay,
you don't think so?
I mean, I don't know what the heck is going on with NRS now. So I mean, whatever happens, your guess is as good as mine.
That's a tough one. That is a tough one coming from me, as I'm not a big NRS guy. Currently, as y'all see, our NRS guy isn't here. So
he's not.
Yeah, so I think the problem is going to be, are we going to see MK11? Or are we going to see Injustice 3? If there is one.
MK12. And it's going to be MK12.
It's going to be MK12.
All the rumors are pointing towards MK12. And that's probably why we're seeing the delay that we've seen.
That merger.
Merger. And then the concern over whether they would even have the rights to do an Injustice 3.
Yeah. That
probably set them back a ways. Because, they were with pretty much like robotic like precision coming out every 2 years with a new game. And I think this is the first time they've ever broken that pattern. Because I believe if they had held the pattern, actually last year we should have gotten Injustice 3, and then next year we should have gotten Mortal Kombat 12 anyway. So, which is kind of crazy to say when you think about it. It's like, what do you mean last year we should have gotten this, and then next year we should have? That's insane. But that's what happened. Like they were pretty much, I think MK9 came out in 2011. Injustice came out in 2013. Mortal Kombat 10 came out in 2015. Injustice 2 came out in 2017, and Mortal Kombat 11 came out in 2019. So
Yeah.
they were hitting them like one after the other, and so like it feels like they probably wanted to do Injustice, but all that Warner Brothers fuckery happened, and they were like, well, we know what we got. We know what we got control of, so we'll just work on Mortal Kombat. And I feel like you see that announced at the Game Awards, same as always, shows up in December, April release date, and then that becomes like the thing. So like that puts Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter against one another, which I mean, like I preferred the Street Fighter universe, but I don't like their odds sales wise.
But MK is definitely gonna. Well,
MK is
I don't know. This time, you never know. Like just based on what Street Fighter is offering this time, that could be different. Like that World Tour mode, it's looking pretty crazy.
And
so
that looked great.
I mean, just the fact it has a character creator, I think that alone is going to sell a lot of people on it. So I don't know. It may not be as clear and cut as we think.
I would love that. I mean, like I just think I'm not the fighting game guy at all, which is why I asked you all those questions. I just keep up with the general news. But I mean, like I think in every industry, in every genre, it's great if we have competition.
Yeah.
And not like just one series lording over everybody. I'm king big dick and nobody can stop or come anywhere close to me. I fucking hate that shit. That's not great. So like if you do have multiple big franchises duking it out, that's better for the industry, better for every industry. So speaking of, I don't know if anybody noticed. I mean, actually, it was brought up, so y'all had to have noticed the whole farming thing. I don't know. Like, I feel like if you look online, you'll see people start to talk about how there's a minimalist thing when it comes to design, like design philosophy. Like everything's kind of becoming more minimalistic in terms of artistic design. Yeah. But I feel like in media, we're getting the opposite of that. We're getting maximalist. We're getting everything at once. Because like during Summer Game Fest, Jeff Keighley showed up and showed us every fucking outer space horror game possible. Then during Gamescom, he came back and just showed every fucking space game possible. There's no horror. You just out there in space. Now Nintendo is like, oh yeah, here's every fucking farming game ever. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, I don't know. Like, it just feels like whatever you like, they're going to throw as much of it at you as possible. Like, I don't know. It's getting kind of weird to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's up, Terrence?
No, I was just saying, I just
agree with you, man.
It's just crazy, but I mean, like, if you like it, I feel like you're in a good place, I guess. So
yeah.
So I guess the next big question to ask is, what games did y'all like coming out of TGS? What games were you most excited for? And it can be announced, like previously announced games. It can be like something that you just saw at TGS for the first time. Terrence, what's up, man?
So I definitely got a nice little list here, and I'll make it quick. Tekken 8, I mean, we already talked about it. Looks amazing. Just a little bit that we saw. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more. So yeah. Probably the biggest game for me of just this entire week was Street Fighter 6. Just with the amount of information we got, we learned so much about the game to the point where some content creators were calling it like information overload. It's just, I mean, we learned about the World Tour. We got to see the character creator, which is surprisingly robust. We got to see 4 new characters, Ken, Blanca, Dawson, and E Honda. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We got to learn about how the training mode works with like frame data. I mean, there's just so much stuff that we learned about the game just this week. And we have a closed beta test coming next month. Hats off to Capcom on this one. Like they're doing what we want them to do for the longest time, which was communicate with us. And they didn't really do that during the Marvel Infinite era. They didn't do it during like the first half of Street Fighter V's run. Pretty much once Yoshinori Ono left, then things got better, which I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole other situation in and of itself. But yeah, long story short, Street Fighter 6 for me was the game of the week, and I can't wait until it comes out. It's going to be amazing. I'm actually excited for the Resident Evil 8 update. There's a lot of stuff coming to it, and even though I don't see myself playing it personally, I'm definitely going to watch a few streamers play it. Like I watched a playthrough of Resident Evil 8, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to just sitting down and watching that. I'm at the point now where some dead games I don't even have to play myself. I don't mind just watching someone else playing it and just enjoying the experience along with them. It's just
who has the time to play video games?
Yeah, who has time to play them when you can watch someone else play them? Yeah. Yeah. Stellar Blade, previously Project Eve, Stellar Blade. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, the action looks great. Characters, like it looks like a very pretty game. I know there's other stuff about it that people have talked about.
Actually, hold on. Now we have to get into something. So apparently, I hadn't got a chance to tell y'all this because we kind of don't talk before the podcast just to make sure everybody's thoughts are kind of fresh. But
yeah,
apparently there's this thing going on online where one of the people involved in Stellar Blade kind of got pushed off the project for being feminist. And I'm like,
what?
Yeah, like I'll send some links later on, but like that was the thing. Like
don't do this to me, Sage.
I'm sorry, I gotta do it. She had espoused like some feminist views, and apparently the parent company, like some of the employees that worked there didn't like it and started trying to push her out, making her feel unwelcome and stuff like that. So like I hate it because that game looks really great, but like fuck, like that shit just. It's so sus. Like I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Well, it's funny because if that's true, then that pretty much just adds further fuel to the whole idea that people had against the game to begin with. It's like, oh, this is clearly a bunch of fan service. Oh, anybody who buys this game, you're such a perv. It's like, so I really hope that's not the case. But if it is, that's not a good look. I'll put it that way.
It's not, but I mean, like that's, and I wasn't gonna say anything. Until I got like, a little bit more confirmation. But like then when you brought it up and I was just gonna like, okay, glide over it. But then like the part about, oh, I know some people don't like it because of certain reasons. I'm like, oh shit. Let's go ahead and navigate this landmine right quick. Well, right. But yeah, I mean like hopefully hopefully they manage to come out like the right side wins out on that one. Because it did look like a great game, but it is sad that like you have so many organizations that just won't let people, I don't know, like be people. Like it's crazy to have like an idea like for somebody to be like, I think women should have equal rights, and a company like the employees be like, no, fuck all that. Like what? Like what's wrong with y'all? Like I don't get it. But that's just one. I mean, like it's not as if there aren't many other games coming out kind of like that though.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, we're probably not that far off from a Nier 4.
Yeah, maybe.
And that kind of looked like Nier, to be honest with you. So
yeah,
I don't put nothing past Yoko Taro. I put nothing past him.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's well, hopefully we won't now that like Korea and China is entering the gaming landscape. It's I guess stuff like that might come up. So it's unfortunate. I just hope that. I hope for the best in terms of like the issues. I hope that everything gets resolved. I'll put it that way. That's the best way to, I guess best way for me to address that. Sin Duality looks good. Sin Duality looks really good. I definitely want to check that out. I really like the trailer, and at first people were thinking that it was what's Capcom's game, Pragmata. Just because at first it kind of had a Capcom look to it, but then when you get further on, the trailer is like, no, it's not quite Capcom. But yeah, I'm interested in that. I'm willing to see how it plays out. I'll put it that way. Let's see, Octopath 2. I mean, I didn't get a chance to play Octopath 1. Hopefully it gets ported, but maybe it won't. Well, let me ask you this, Sage. Does the story carry over, or is it going to be like different?
All new. In fact,
all new.
Even if it's set in the same world, I was looking at, because they had like this 20 minutes of gameplay footage. If you're curious, I can always link that. But like apparently this takes like the original game was like more medieval times, like knights and that type of stuff. This takes place around about the industrial area.
Okay.
trains and steam based ships and stuff like that.
Okay.
So no, it's not gonna be set in like you'll be able to play if you're curious and you're excited about it, which cool. Octopath 2, you can just jump right in.
Okay, well that's
Yeah.
good to know. Good to know. Good. It's pretty much the Final Fantasy effect. Okay, that's good.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm excited for that. One game that I probably won't get to play, but I'm gonna keep my eyes on is Master Detective Archive Raincoat, which what a title. But that's by the
Yeah, I
people
know.
who made Danganronpa, and I mean Danganronpa is a goated series. I mean it's a fun ride. So I definitely want to keep my eye on it, even if I don't get a chance to play, just because to my understanding it's a Switch exclusive. So we'll see. Crisis Core looks. What is that? Oh,
Danganronpa.
Oh, okay. I couldn't quite see.
Danganronpa's
Like
decadent.
your cameras are cutting off a little bit, so I couldn't quite see.
Yeah.
Okay, there we
It's
go.
a
Okay.
Collector's edition has all 3 games and that little side game they added in. It was a collector's edition thing. I went on and got it.
Nice. Yeah, Crisis Core. I'm looking to get that. I mean, gameplay looks like they tossed in a lot of Final Fantasy VII Remake into it. Like even the menus look like Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I'm very interested to see the adjustments that have been made to the combat, because if it's way different than the way the game worked on the PSP, then it should be interesting. And then
I heard
lastly,
the combat on Crisis Core, like the OG one, was not very good, huh?
that's what I always heard, but I mean that might be
Yeah,
a to each their own kind of thing, you know. Yeah. And lastly, God of War Ragnarok. Man, that trailer was a trailer. It looked so good, man. Like, oh,
It did look great.
It looked, oh man. Well, I guess Raheem isn't here, so there's nobody to kind of like toss a tomato or something at me. But confession, I haven't played God of War like the 2018 game. Yeah, I haven't played it. Like I have it, but I had never
it's
gotten.
okay. I haven't either.
I haven't gotten a chance to play it. I just hadn't. Like I just hadn't sat down and played. But you know what? I'm going to dedicate some time to play it before Ragnarok comes out, and I'm going to be ready on launch day when Ragnarok comes out to play it, because man, that game looks fantastic. So that's my long list there. Just like the game that I'm most excited for is Street Fighter 6. I guess right behind that is God of War Ragnarok, and the other stuff I'm just looking to see how it plays out, you know, as we get more news or when it comes out.
I mean that was a solid list. I mean, I was impressed. I remember Will put in our chat, like our group chat, the list of RPGs, like JRPGs that are coming out next year.
Yeah.
And man, that list was like if you played every game, like you'd never finish them all. I don't know how you'd have a chance. Even with that, I managed to count off, I think, like 11 titles just from that list, and now all of them weren't shown during the Tokyo Game Show, but still just a great list of games. And I don't know, I feel like we're in a great position gaming wise. Will, what was your list, man? What were you most excited for coming out of Tokyo Game Show?
Okay, so while Terrence did touch on quite a bit of the things that I wanted to play, I won't even hold you. That RGG Summit really did it for me.
Yeah.
Yes. Bro, we get to play this storyline with Kiryu, where he's like a monk and he has a different name. He's trying to leave behind his past from what I can see, at least from what I can tell. And I'm like, I get it, because I ain't gonna lie to you. I couldn't imagine going through 6 games and every time something went wrong, they was like, look, we had the 8th chairman. We need to go back 4 people for the one that did it right. Get him. He know what's going on. I want that game. I also want that Like a Dragon 8. And I ain't even played 7 yet. And I'm like, I need to catch up. I'm bullshitting.
I played a lot of 7. It's fire. Like 7 it was trending towards being one of my favorite video games of all time.
Oh, wow.
I love the cast, like not like top 5, but like definitely top 10 or so.
Yeah.
And I love the cast, the world, the class system. I didn't hit the difficulty spike that everybody talks about though, so like I don't know. It can still lose me, but like Yakuza 7 is just a fantastic game all around.
That's what's up. And then there's also the other one that they doing that I'm just like, oh my god. Finally, after all these years, that game is finally getting lifted off the PS3. Like a Dragon Ishin is something I've been wanting for years. because I've always seen clips of it. I've always watched bits and pieces of it, but I'm just like, it's not in English, so I can't really spoil myself on what's happening here. But after seeing that trailer, seeing all these characters I recognize, seeing them bring back a ton of these different like top tier bosses from the game and putting them here basically like a fucking Yakuza All Stars, I'm like, you've hit the goal, and it's coming out in February if I'm not mistaken. So
how much? Will, let me ask you a question.
What's
How
up?
much of Yakuza have you played, like the Yakuza franchise?
Yakuza 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Dead Souls, and I didn't play those PSP games. I did not
So
play
you
those.
beat the first 6.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. How do you feel about them bringing back Kiryu, even though they said they wouldn't?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel a little off about it because I'm like, I know 6 is kind of like he's out of here in a way,
It's the
like
swan song, like that. He's supposed to be done.
like he's done with this thing. But I think the way they're doing this now, it is a little off-putting because I'm like, let that man retire. Let him not be the 4th chairman no more. He's tired of getting involved because every time something happens, he got to go beat somebody's ass. So let the man
Hands.
go retire. He gotta go put somebody in the dirt. Cause every time we look up, he done got put in the dirt, but he come back. He done got shot and stabbed on numerous occasions and came back just like, I'm good. And I'm just like, no, you're not. You've been stabbed in the back.
Let me tell you what I think.
What up?
You know, Nagoshi, like the former head of RGG,
Yeah.
he got headhunted by, I think, NetEase.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. I know he got headhunted. I just didn't remember if it was Tencent or NetEase. I knew it was one of the two.
Yeah.
But so I think initially Nagoshi was like, all right, we done with Kiryu. That's it. That's it for that character. It seemed like he had a very clear vision. He was like, yeah, going forward, Like a Dragon is going to be turn-based, and the protagonist is going to be Ichiban, and that's what we're doing. And Judgment will be our action series, and that, like, we'll have a whole separate cast and characters for that. Like, cool. But I feel like he left, and the remaining people were like, all right, look, fuck all of what he was talking about. Kiryu coming back. He back in the next one, and he getting his own game. And Kiryu's game is, of course, going to be like it's called, what was it? The Man Without a Name, I think it is.
Yeah.
Or The Man Who Gave Up His Name, something like that. It was really cool.
Along those lines, yeah.
Bond type title. But like, I feel like they immediately went back on that. Like, even though Nagoshi, if he had his way, probably would have been like, I'm just gonna keep Ichiban, and Kiryu, he goes off into the sunset. He's doing his own thing, and then we just don't see him again. We got 7 games out of him, so it's fine. Like 7 plus the side stories, it's fine. So I don't know. Like, I'm a little bummed out that he's back, but I mean, like, I'm not mad. Like, I'm not too upset because he was a great character.
Right. And for me, honestly, I'm okay. I'm okay with him being there, but I just don't think I want to see if his like character's gonna have a big part in 8. God willing, I'm here to see that game happen, and I get a chance to buy it.
He's supposedly dual protagonist.
I mean, I know that, but I want to know if it's gonna be a case of, yeah, they're both here, but we know it's Ichiban's game, so it's more like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah,
like they're both here, but it's more focused on him. Kind of almost like the Mega Man X thing. We know it's more X than it is 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what you just talked about made me think about Mega Man X, how X was kind of supposed to end at X5, but when Inafune wasn't there, they were just like, hey, look, we making a 6th one, and a 7th, and an 8th.
They just kept making
so yeah, they kept making them even after he wasn't there. So I'm just like, ugh. But yeah, that's my big top is the Like a Dragon games. Definitely the Street Fighter 6 because I want to play it. I want to see how it feels and how it goes. Yes, I'm still gonna be a sore fucking loser, but I don't care. I want to play.
Hey man, I'm expecting to hold many L's.
Exactly. I will hold my L's proudly with pride. And last but not least, I think the biggest thing I really want to talk about is most of the Square stuff. A lot of Square stuff, I'm just going to encompass them all in one thing. A lot of Square stuff is just got my attention. Like, they just touched on it all. From, I know Star Ocean. I think Star Ocean had another trailer recently. And I know about Octopath because I'm going to get it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Harvestella, which is a part of the farming direct, which we had, and a few more things they had. But the number one thing I know I'm looking for now, because I've kind of gotten addicted to the series now, is the Romancing Saga Minstrel Song remake. I have the physical game on PS2, but after seeing what they're gonna do with that, the 1st of December, I got 8 characters to play as. So
did they announce a thing for Saga? Am I tripping? Like
they
some
announced
future stream or whatever?
I think it's gonna be a future stream, because they talked about the mobile game stuff, but they was talking about stuff in Japan server, not global. And then they talked about all the new features that's gonna be in Minstrel Song Remastered. And then I think there's something else they had labeled there, but I don't think they touched on that at all.
Well, there's supposed to be a new Saga game, so that's why I was asking.
Yeah, I think that's gonna come later. But there was something else they were supposed to be like doing. I think it's called Imperial Saga, and they hadn't touched on that. I seen it labeled there on the thing, but they never talked about it, it seems. So I guess that's something I'm waiting to hear about.
Okay. That's a solid list. Like Square did come up in there and like rock your face. Like I feel like Square's in a really good position right now.
Man, Square been balling all year.
Man, I hope that DFL Chronicle and Valkyrie Elysium both turn out to be good games.
I do too.
More than anything, like I'm gonna be honest with you, fuck both of those games if I can get Star Ocean, which I guess is where we'll start for me. Star Ocean, the Divine Force. I can't decide if this game is gonna be good or bad. Like I looked at some gameplay on my phone, and I don't know if it was my phone just looking kind of bad bit rate and YouTube compression, that type thing. I don't know if it was that or what, but it just kind of looked It looked all right. Then I saw like a trailer for it, like the story trailer, like the really long, I think it was like 3 to 5 minute trailer, and it looked great. And it looked like I won't have the problem that people had with Star Ocean 5, where there was so much backtracking because there wasn't a lot of content in it. Looked really solid. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna check out the reviews first. I'm already taking a big risk with Gotham Knights. I'm gonna buy that sight unseen, whether it's good or bad. So I can't do that with 2 games. So we'll just have to see on a second one. So hopefully Star Ocean 2 is good, or Star Ocean 6 is good. I don't give a fuck about fighting games. Like I'm not good at them. But Street Fighter World Tour, that looked really good. I kind of liked what I saw. I haven't been able to find like the full World Tour gameplay yet, but I'm gonna go look it up and see if I can and dig it up, because I kind of want to get another look at it because it looked pretty good. And the idea of being able to create my own character and fight in what's the name of that city?
Metro City.
Yeah, Metro City.
Yeah, to be able to fight in Metro City and beat up just random people in the city, that seems like a lot of fun. So I fuck with that. Like Will, I'm pretty excited for all the RGG Studio stuff. I've switched to PC and I haven't been able to get a PS5 yet. So Judgment and Lost Judgment being on PC now is great news for me. I'm probably gonna pick up both as soon as I can. Yakuza, Like a Dragon, Ishin, pretty cool. I was never super high on Like a Dragon Ishin, but I mean, like, I'll take it. I've played enough classic Yakuza to not really feel like put out by the fact they got a samurai side story going on. And then, of course, 8 and the story Return of Kiryu. I'm pretty excited for that. I got a lot of Yakuza to play next year if I'm going to catch up in time for that game. Then there's Honkai Star Rail. I kind of like what I like. They keep putting out trailers for that. I'm like, all right, this is cool. Like, I really would like to see some combat and a date at some point. But I like what I see of it. You've got the 2 big comeback games or comeback franchises. Front Mission making a comeback, which I'm like, yeah. I was a big Front Mission fan when I played Front Mission 3 back in the day when I was like, I don't know, I think like 11, playing Front Mission 3 in the mornings, just playing those huge fucking maps and fighting different. It was the closest I was gonna get to like a good Gundam game, short of like Super Robot Wars. So I'm all for that one, and I'm glad that it's making a comeback. Hopefully, those games make it off Switch and they're just not trapped to the Switch, because I mean, that just seems like a waste. It's such a niche project that I don't know that it's a good idea to just trap it on one system. Suikoden making a comeback, huge surprise to me.
Yeah, that was a big surprise right there.
I was so shocked by that. I'm like, I need to tell my boy. He needs to know.
I mean, the rumor had been that it was gonna be Suikoden. Like, they had talked about, oh, Konami's bringing back a world famous franchise, and then like some of the video game journalism sites were like, okay, well, it's not gonna be Silent Hill and it's not gonna be Metal Gear Solid, so y'all can cross that out right now. And then there was, I think, I was like, well, it's probably not Castlevania. And then they pointed out that the voice actor involved that was going to be presenting had only worked with Suikoden. And I was like, oh, so it's probably Suikoden. Cool. I was kind of hoping for a Suikoden 6, but I'll take a remaster of the first 2 games. I love Suikoden 1. It's one of my top 25 games of all time. Suikoden 2's, I know this is like blasphemous. It's a very good game. I don't love it quite as much. Part of that might be nostalgia, but a lot of it is just I thought the true ending, quote unquote, is just so needlessly complex to get that I'm like, I'm not fine. Yeah, it's okay, but not great.
Do you think they're using this maybe to gauge interest for a future Suikoden game?
Yeah, that's confirmed.
Okay.
They IGN did an interview with the developers, and they talked about how they want to keep making Suikoden games. Presumably, if this is a success, you might see a collection of 3, 4, and 5. Hopefully, it's a collection of 3, 4, and 5, and not like just 1 and 2, right?
Please do, because those last 3 you just mentioned are fucking expensive.
Well, 4 sucks, so there's no reason to ever buy it.
I get it, but still,
garbage.
It's crazy because I remember 5 being like readily available for like a long time.
Sometimes it's like that, like games that like you get this everywhere, and then like eventually all the prints are sold out, and it's like, man, you can't find this nowhere. So, but 5 is in a superb game. In the same class as 1 to me. I fucking love Suikoden 5, but hopefully they do it as like a big collection, like a PS2 collection, and not try to be greedy and be like, oh, well, we're gonna sell them all at $40 a pop. Like, you're gonna kill it. You'll kill the franchise if you do that. Just sell them all together at $70. I know some people will complain, but I think 3 games for $70 is not a bad price.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so just sell them all, like touch them up where you can. Maybe add a little bit more voice acting or something if possible, and sell it for $70. Hopefully you get another success out of that, and then you can make a Suikoden 6. Speaking of Suikoden 6, Eiyuden Chronicle.
Oh, yeah.
Getting another trailer for that. I'm upset that we don't have a reveal, like a release date yet. It's still just, earmarked as 2023, which is fine. But I mean, like, I would love to know, have like a more targeted date at this point, Q3 or something like that. I would take even that. I would prefer this like a proper November 11th, 2023. I would prefer some shit like that, but we'll see. By far the game I was most excited to see. Whoa. Actually, you know what? Rise of the Ronin. That one looked really good. Now, Team Ninja is known for making like these super hard, punishing, break your controller looking ass games. So I don't know. Hopefully it's not that. Hopefully it's more of a traditional open world with just solid combat. I don't know. What's up, Terrence?
Well, I just want to say, Capcom, where you at, man? Like, all these companies are releasing samurai games. Where's Onimusha? This feels like a missed opportunity. Come on.
You are correct.
You are right.
Yeah, actually, double correct. Because if the prediction is right, then this Ghost of Tsushima 2 and Assassin's Creed Red will all hit at the same time in the same year. They'll all come out in 2024. And so, like, by that time, the boat is passed. Like, if you can't get Onimusha out by 2024, if all 3 of those games hit, if you can't get it out by 2024, people are going to be like, I guess. It'll just be the Onimusha hardcore that
they're going to wait till 2026. It's like introducing a new Onimusha. Yeah, you all waited for it. It's now out. We don't care now.
Exactly.
I mean, we'll care. I'm joking, but
I don't know. Like, I feel like if it comes out 2025, it might be screwed just because like fatigue. But 2026 actually might not be too bad of an idea. Like if they dropped it, 2 years later, like after everybody's played all the 3 big. Well, they won't all be feudal Japan because like Ghost was like feudal-ish.
Yeah, it was.
So like I don't know where they would set Ghost 2, maybe in the same time period. Rise of the Ronin is like Bakumatsu period, like during the right before the Meiji Restoration. So like I don't know, it just would depend.
Yeah.
That's a franchise. That's a unique enough franchise that it might still be okay.
I just wanted to get that out while you were mentioning it. I kept thinking it during the entire week because I was like, we're still getting all these samurai games, but no Onimusha. This just feels like a waste.
You are correct. It is indeed a waste. By far, the game that had me the most hype was Octopath Traveler.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
I had such fond memories of that game. And it's funny because I was like thinking about that game right before it came out. Octopath Traveler 1. Like I was thinking about the theme and how memorable it was to the point where I was looking up what's my man's name? Alex Malaka?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the composer. Yeah.
He had a video about how great the theme, the main theme of Octopath was, and explaining why it was so dope. Look that up if you've never seen it before, guys. But it's just, I was like, I had the theme stuck in my head for like a week before the show, like 2 weeks before the show. And then when that theme, like when the chick started humming the theme, I was like, oh shit. I was so happy. Like I had tears in my eyes, not like crying tears, but like, the wetness at the side, like that type shit.
Tears of joy.
So I was like basically excited. Like, fuck, I can't. I'm so happy to have this franchise back. So yeah, that was definitely the big one. Man, I just don't know. Square just feels like they're on fire right now. They can't be stopped. They just keep coming out with games. Like, even if they're not all amazing, they're still like good to great. So like, hats off to Square.
Thank you for reminding me about Valkyrie Elysium. I forgot that the demo came out. I just went ahead and downloaded that.
I gotta get that soon too.
Yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think of the demo, by the way. Because I mean, I don't think it's on PC. So, so one thing that they had as a surprise was Genshin Impact getting an anime.
Oh man,
and it's by UFO Table. So I'm like, whoa, holy shit! Like this anime is gonna look pretty as fuck. So I know, Terrence, I know you don't play Genshin Impact, but are you interested in? Could we interest you in an anime?
So here's the thing. My relationship with Genshin is an interesting one because, first off, I had always wanted to play. When the game first came out, I had it on my PS4. I had it downloaded. I was ready to get into it. I just never did. I had friends who were deep into it, and yeah, I just never got around to it. But I follow a lot of voice actors on Twitter, and one thing, Genshin is still relevant for me because like every time they have like an update, I get to see like the latest voice actor that's voicing the newest character. And just because I'm so involved with the community in that way, I always know what's going on with Genshin. Like I always know about the latest characters, who's voicing them, and how people are feeling about the update and everything. I also know about the dark side of Genshin, like the fan base. I'm not going to get into it, but I will say the fan base, it's an interesting one.
It's like a lot of fan bases, yeah.
It's an interesting one. But I'm down for this anime. I like, even though I haven't played Genshin, I like Genshin's existence. I get that's a weird thing to say. Genshin is huge. There's no denying it. It's a huge game, and it getting an anime by a UFO Table is just, that's perfect. And Ufotable, even though they're known for Demon Slayer and of course, Fate, like Fate Stay, and well, not Fate Stay, but Fate Unlimited Blade Works and Fate Zero. Yeah. They've also done the Tales. Let's see, they did Tales of Zestria. They did an anime for that. They did an OVA for Tales of Symphonia. So they're no strangers to doing stuff for games. So them doing something for Genshin, it's not unfounded. So based on what we saw, it looks beautiful. If all of the anime looks like that, hey, sign me up. Ufotable, they're amazing with their art, amazing with their animation. You really can't go wrong. So this is a collaboration made in heaven. I'm definitely looking forward to it whenever it comes out.
That's what's up. Will, how do you feel? Like, I don't know if you played Genshin. I haven't asked you before, but I don't like. How do you feel about this adaptation?
Well, to answer you, since you never asked, yes, I actually have played Genshin. I played it when it first kind of started, and I got into it like a few days, but then after that, I dropped it. And then one day, like, I got friends who like are hardcore knee deep into Genshin. Like they play
whales.
I ain't gonna say they whales, but they play it just enough to make you feel like they might be. They play it just enough for me to be like, y'all really put time into this shit, and I don't. That says a lot about me. But I think it's cool that they're getting an anime. I'm willing to watch it. I'm willing to see how it turns out. And just like y'all said, knowing who is behind it, I'm just like, they are not gonna miss. I don't think they're gonna miss. The only way they miss is if they just fuck up. if someone just chooses to like just throw the pen at the wall and leave the studio and just say, I'm not doing it no more.
Wow.
If someone just says I can't do it, I can't, and then just and be done. So yeah, I'm with it, man. I'm with it. I'm gonna give it a try. And like y'all said, we know about the fan bases. We know how that works. I'm gonna hold my opinion to episode 5, not 3, 5. So yeah,
I think they picked the best studio that they could have for that. It's like I'm glad it wasn't like Mappa or like WIT or anyone like that. They like in terms of like a long project like this, Ufotable is a good one to go with.
Them motherfuckers too busy. So yeah, Ufotable I think is gonna be the best one. I mean like I first noticed them with Tales of Zestiria, the X. That was like the first anime that I saw from them, and it was like gorgeous. And quite frankly, a better anime than a game, if we're being honest. So
you're not wrong.
But I mean, like I of the three of us, I would say I'm the biggest Genshin fan. I haven't played in a while, but I did play it up to like 2.5, 2.8, somewhere up in there.
You were a Genshin streamer for a while.
Yeah,
I did stream a lot of Genshin at one point. Like I was really in there going through dailies and doing the story. I did a lot of Archon quests and shit. I pushed past the part where it's like this game is way too confusing. It's got too many currency systems and too many ways to level up characters, and I didn't know what to go. Eventually, I kind of figured out most of what was going on. I still never quite figured out comps, but I mean, whatever. But I did enjoy my time with that game. I just stopped because it was too grindy. You know, like it was just asking a little too much from the grind. And I eventually just got to a point where I'm like, all right, that's enough. It's taking up too much of my time. I will leave this to the people that are fanatics about it. And there are plenty of those, and there's nothing wrong with being fanatical about it. We're all fanatics about something. However, I'm actually super stoked about the anime, like the idea, because like the story, I still dug. Like I was digging what, the story of like Aether and Lumine and like them one trying to get the other back. I don't know who's gonna be the protagonist in this one, whether it's gonna be Aether, the guy, or Lumine, his sister. I don't know who's gonna be the protagonist in this, but whatever the case is, I'm pretty excited to check it out. I feel like if they do it correctly, if they do it on the same level as Tales of Zestiria, it'll be a better anime than a game, because like there's certain flaws in the game, like you never really have a party, so to speak. Even though you have all these characters with you, they're not really with you in storyline. So like I feel like this will give them a chance to let the story breathe, use some of those characters and develop them in ways that you probably wouldn't get in the anime. I mean, in the game. So like I'm pretty excited. I don't know when that's gonna come out, but I'm looking forward to it. They did say it was a long-term project, so hopefully they're in for the long haul and we can get through all 7 continents and not just like, hey, we did 2 seasons of this and you saw Mondstadt and Liyue and that's all you're gonna see. Like please don't do that to me. Like at least get as far as 3.0 with Sumeru. At least get that far.
Yeah.
The one last question I had for y'all is, how do y'all feel now going forward about Japanese gaming? I feel like during the PS3 era, they kind of had I won't say they fell off. They had a bump in the road. Like they were trying to figure out how to do HD gaming. They were trying to figure out how to compete with like Western developers.
They were trying to be the West.
Yeah,
they were indeed trying to be. That's where I was going with it. They were trying to be the West. You're right.
Capcom, I'm looking at you.
It's not just Capcom, Square, all the motherfuckers. They all tried to be the Konami with them Castlevanias and shit. All of them tried to be the West. They all tried to be too serious, and they kind of forgot what brought them to the dance.
Yeah.
And they paid for it. It was a problem throughout the PS4 era, throughout the PS3 era, the PS360 era. It was a problem for them. And so now I think with the PS4 era, we kind of saw them kind of getting it back together. Capcom, they kind of figured it out during the second half of the PS4 era with Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8, 2 and 3 remake, Devil May Cry, Monster Hunter World, the whole nine. Square, to me, they're finally heating up. He's heating up. They finally heating up now. Final Fantasy 16, Forspoken, all those old B tier and C tier franchises. They're trying to bring those back and do things with them. Konami, we'll see, right? Like Silent Hill is pretty much real. I'm just saying, like Konami. Hearts. I mean, Vandal Hearts would be great. Konami is the one that fell the furthest. I think we can all agree on that. And Suikoden is a start. Silent Hill, supposedly they're going to do a bunch with Silent Hill. The rumors are swirling about with Metal Gear Solid. So we'll see, right? Yeah. And so, like, I'm wondering, how do y'all feel? Like, do y'all feel Japanese gaming is in a good spot? Like, have they made their full comeback? Will, what's up?
I do not think they've made a full comeback, but what I think is like you said, back with the PS360 era, they lost what brought them to the dance. I think they're finding it still. And I think they're trying to get that confidence back. I think what it is, they found it, but they want to put the confidence into it. So they're like, when we get out here, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. These are the things that made people love us back then. We're trying to get a lot of that back. And Square said, we just going to go in the back and get this history book. We're going to open it. I'm going to start picking, and we're going to start putting it out. That's what they did. Konami finally got out of the casino with a whiskey bottle and said, you know what, we got to do better. We got to come back because the people hate us right now, and we kind of need to get some goodwill. Capcom, like Terrence said, one part was doing the rest of them were picking up. That bottom part was like, okay, we're getting left behind. Let's catch up. So everything's kind of coming together. Japanese gaming is looking really good right now. They're looking good. As long as they continue to put out a good few bangers. Like I said, Konami got to get right back in line. Suikoden is a start. Vandal Hearts would be great. Maybe they can get Contra out of the mud, because that last game was ass. Castlevania, I doubt it's happening unless they get Iga back in the studio. But
unlikely.
Very unlikely.
But the director of Eiyuden and Suikoden, he said he'd be willing to come back for Suikoden 6.
I mean, that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. We'll see how that works out in the long run, though. So I ain't gonna put my eggs in my basket and be like, oh, he coming back. I want to wait and see. So, but Japanese gaming is looking great. It's doing good. Just continue to keep a steady flow till y'all get right there and just take off. I love Japanese gaming. I love Western gaming. It's just that Japanese gaming has stuck with me a lot more than Western has. That's all it is.
Terrence, how do you feel? Do you feel like Japanese gaming has made its comeback, like its full comeback?
I pretty much agree with Will. I think that what I think really helped was the Switch. The Switch, being
absolutely
the Switch being as popular as it is, and I mean that just helped immensely. So many Japanese developers are running to the Switch. Like a lot of those old school style like RPGs and Japanese style games, they're going to the Switch. I feel like that's really what it is. It feels like they found a home and now they feel comfortable again, because during the PS3 era they were obviously uncomfortable for a long time, just because, and I think everybody was uncomfortable because the HD era, the beginning of it was just weird. Like everybody was just figuring stuff out. They were just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what would stick. The PS3 was held to develop for and took some time to figure out. So, that was just a weird time for gaming. PS4, yes, it did PS4, Xbox One era definitely leaned more into like the American development side of things. I think starting out, and toward the end of its life cycle, I feel like Japanese gaming was starting to pick back up. Like I can think off the top of my head, like Capcom making their comeback with Devil May Cry 5 and a lot of the other stuff that they put out. But yeah, I think Japanese games are starting to come back. I mean, we've seen it with Square. I mean, Square is, you got to put some respect on their name this year. their output has been is unmatched. Like real talk. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with Will. I think that Japanese gaming is in a good spot not right now. Is it like a 50-50 to American gaming? I don't know. I'd have to really do a bit more of an analysis on that one. Like I don't want to, speak out and, be like totally wrong. I feel like more research needs to be done in that regard. But I do think that Japanese gaming, it is really starting to make a comeback, and I'm glad. Like you said, Will, I grew up on a lot of the Japanese games, like JRPGs, the Japanese action games. Just video game. There was a joke for the longest time that video games come from Japan, and that was a joke for a reason because pretty much video games came from Japan, like up until like the PS2 era. But when we got to the PS3, things kind of stumbled a little bit, but now I think we're starting to really get back into a good place, and I'm glad that was reflective in this year's Tokyo Game Show. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Man, Terrence is just such a respectable podcaster. He wants to do research, analysis, and that's really what you guys, the audience, and the internet as a whole, that's what they deserve. But fuck that. I'm willing to be wrong. I was
ready for it.
I'm willing to be wrong. Hell with it. I feel like Japanese gaming is back. I feel like they're on point right now. I feel like they hidden. Now, I will say this. I feel like they need one more year. That you got to get, like, the games aren't out yet, and so they could still suck. Street Fighter 6 could suck. 16 could suck. Those games could be trash. I don't think they're going to be trash. I think they're going to be great. But I feel like they could suck because, we all thought Cyberpunk was going to be a lock to be great, and you see how that shit turned out. Yeah. So, like, they could suck. So, like, maybe, like, by the end of next year, if everything goes the way that it's supposed to go, I feel like Japanese gaming is back. Even with Western gaming, hell, I mean, like, better than Western gaming. Yeah. I'll say it. Like, and the reason
I can't disagree.
I can't deny that.
The reason why I'll say it is because, like, Western gaming is kind of falling off. Like, when you really think about it, like, how was Halo doing? How is Battlefield doing? They looking at COD. COD look like every other COD. It's same game 7.
COD having to remaster old ones now.
Hell yeah. Like, you see what the fuck going on? Like, all these big franchises, and then, like, you sitting over here waiting on, like, the top tier franchises from Western games. Like, okay, you still got God of War, and that's still fire. But, like, Naughty Dog, they know where to be found. Their next project is supposedly just, what is it? The Last of Us multiplayer. Insomniac, they might have some fire. Rocksteady, they might have some fire when they come out with Suicide Squad, excuse me. I got my Swedes mixed up. Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. I don't want that bullshit, but it might be good. It might be. And so, like, you got some games that's coming out from the West that are fire, but, like, they got a lot of them that are falling off. Like, a lot of franchises, they not where they used to be. And even some of the ones that are good are trying to milk you for every fucking dime they can get. And so, like, that shit get exhausting after a while. Meanwhile, Japanese game, what's going on, Terry?
Well, I was gonna say, you know what might be a good talking point about it is the fact that look at how Square got out of, like, their Western division. Like, they pretty much, like, tossed their Western division. Like, hey, you know what? Who has them now?
Embracer.
Yeah, Embracer's like, hey, Embracer, you know what? You all deal with it. We're going back to what we know.
They did go back to what we know.
That might be a sign in of itself.
And I mean, like, I don't want to, like, and I agree, like, to some extent, even though Square, I don't know, like, with Square, they always making weird decisions, so you never really, but, like, it's not that I think Western gaming sucks. I play a lot of Western games. In fact, I would say, of the three of us, I'm probably the one that plays the most Western games. Would y'all
probably
say that?
Are.
Yeah. You probably are, if I'd say so, yeah.
I love Western gaming, but, like, I got eyes and I see shit. Like, I'm seeing what's happening right now. Like, Japanese games are on the come up, and I feel like by the end of 2023, it's gonna be a very, very different conversation where people look and they're like, wait a minute, like Japan is up in this bitch. And so, like, the only thing that I would say, like, especially next year in particular, like, in comparison to Western gaming, Like the only thing I say that might get in their way is Starfield, Spider-Man 2, and what's that other game that's coming out? Mortal Kombat 12 is also a good one, so that's 3. And then there's one other game that I'm just blanking on right now. But
And
like
we're all waiting on GTA 6.
I'm not.
That ain't coming next year.
Well, I know it's not
So
coming
you
next
gotta-
year, but I mean when it does come out.
I mean, you're right. But like, I feel like we're in a position now where not only can a Japanese game next year possibly be in the Game of the Year contest, but it could possibly win it. In fact, actually, we might have that this year.
I was gonna say because Elden
Elden Ring is damn near a lock.
Yeah.
Like God, like say what you want about God of War Ragnarok, it looks great, but I just feel like even if it's a great game, I don't feel like it'll be a moment.
It's not gonna change the landscape like Elden Ring did. Elden Ring is a game changer. Like that's a system. That's a generation defining title.
That's what I'm saying. Like
There you go.
that was in the same way. Like the hardcore in 2015 loved Bloodborne, like they loved it. But The Witcher was a moment.
Yeah.
It was like the thing. People looked at it and was like, whoa, that game. I gotta like go out. If I don't own a PS4 yet, I gotta go buy one for this game. And Elden Ring feels like that. And I don't think that God of War Ragnarok can be that.
No, I don't think so either.
I think it can be a great game. 91, 92 on Metacritic, whatever the fuck. I think it can be all of that. But I probably closer to 90, 89, but still, whatever. I feel like it can be a top tier game and still not come up to what Elden Ring was to so many people. And I say that as somebody that don't give a shit about FromSoft. Like, I got eyes. Once again, I can be objective in the moment. And like, Elden Ring is that game this year. And so like, Japanese gaming is not just on the come up. I feel like it's arrived. And the only thing we need is like one more year to like show like these next set of big projects, your Street Fighters, your Final Fantasy 16s, that type of thing. And then once all that shit is out there, people are gonna be like, whoa, what the fuck? And then like in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom supposed to be coming out next year too.
Yeah.
In fact, I know that it's like coming out in May. So like once you get through all those games and they just in your face like that, people not gonna have no choice. And I'm not saying my co-hosts are wrong or nothing like that. I hope y'all know, like, I'm not just coming out here just to fuck with y'all.
No, I agree with what you're saying.
I hear you saying, bro. You right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So, like, I mean, like, I'm just letting, like, all the people that think, like, oh, man, Japanese gaming ain't what it used to be, like, that conversation is going to look completely different come October 2023.
I agree.
All right. I feel like that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, I need a few things from you. I need you to do us a favor. Hit that subscription button on YouTube. I need you to do us a favor. Follow us on Twitter and TikTok. Tell your friends about us. And do me a personal favor. And have an excellent week. Peace.